Very interesting study. The University of Buffalo researchers up there followed more than 600 couples through the first 9 years of their marriage to see what factors there were involved in whether or not they got divorced or whether or not they stayed together. And they came up with a very interesting result. Joining us right now, divorce attorney Melinda Eitzen, co-author of the just-released book, Considering Divorce, Critical Things You Need to Know. Melinda, good morning.
Good morning. How are you, Bruce?
I'm well. This is, I think, very interesting. It's not whether or not the couples drink. It's whether or not they drink the same amount. That's curious.
That's exactly right. I know. So we say in the divorce business they come in pairs. And if they come in pairs, apparently they're less likely to divorce. So if they both drink heavy or if they both drink light, they just match the national average for divorce, just as likely or unlikely as everybody else. But if one of them drinks heavy and one of them drinks light, they are much more likely to get divorced. And if the heavy drinker is the wife, 3 times as likely to get divorced.
Oh, really? I wonder why that is.
I have 2 theories. One theory is if you go with the stereotype that men are still the larger wage earners, then the women may be willing to put up with the drunken husband because she doesn't feel financially like she can afford to divorce.
Got it.
Second theory is that if you go with the stereotype that women are still the primary caretakers of the children, they're probably screwing up more at the house by being drunk and taking care of the children, thus divorce.
Wouldn't you think, though, that if both couples, or both people in the couple drank heavily, it would lead to more arguments within the couple, in that alcohol, depresses some of your instincts to behave yourself and behave in a civilized manner, so you can have more vicious arguments if you have 2 drunks in the house. And I would think that that would lead toward more divorces rather than if simply one person drinks heavily, the other person is relatively sober and just gets up and leaves the room.
Absolutely. I think that the study is showing us that if they're both drunken, I'm sure they're still having the fights, but they're more willing to put up with it, maybe because they see the part they play in it, or maybe they know there's a lot of blame to lay at their doorstep as well.
Well, Melinda, I don't want to cost you business, but with the holidays coming up, there's going to be a lot of drinking going on, and that leads to fights. So how can couples get through this, particularly if somebody listening right now says, well, I don't know, I'm a light drinker and my spouse is a heavy drinker. I just want to get through Christmas and get through New Year's and get back to some degree of normalcy post that time period. How can they get from now till January 2nd and stay together?
I know. That's the challenge, isn't it? I think that anytime somebody's a heavy drinker and anytime there's any kind of substance abuse, people need to get help. It's not a long-term good solution for their lives. If that's their coping mechanism, they need to get a new coping mechanism.
Melinda Eitzen, a divorce attorney, co-author of a just-released book, which is probably not the greatest book to give somebody at Christmas, Melinda, sorry, Considering Divorce, Critical Things You Need to Know. Melinda, thank you very much for being with us. I sure appreciate your time this morning.
Good to be with you, Bruce.